Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 9 of the Misfortune. Where we left off, we had our character Bregler had a strange, sudden vision, a very dark vision. And I want to update you guys on some changes I made. I found a new Oracle system. I'm sorry, a new table system with our map here. So I've updated the map to be uh, discoverable. So I got rid of mostly everything that we've never been to, and I've already drawn in the areas we've been to with a new legend and a new layout here. So let's get a little closer. I wanted to use this because feels far more retro and old school. So we this Oracle system is from Perplexing Ruins, and then it has all of this great stuff kind of condensed in. So we have all these tables we can roll to. I think everything is mostly D6. So exploring terrain, new terrain, water, weather, discoveries, dangers, has all of these traveling encounters, has omens and discovery, a bunch of stuff we can work with. And then it comes with these dungeon sheets, which lets you draw it in as you go so that you can roll to these different layouts onto this empty square. And then it has everything, all these tables that relate to a dungeon. So I've got a few of those printed when we encounter a dungeon or sort or similar. We still have our quests, and then I have my character sheet here. I still got the crusty mythic Game Master emulator, the one-page mythic. We will still be using that. Now let's get our dice ready. And since there's a lot of D6s in this, I'm going to get some D6s ready too. So we need two blues, perhaps, just for now. There we go. Okay, so we have that on the side. Now, this is our map. This is going to be, let's see, that is our village of Terran. This is the Misfits camp. These are fields. These are I'm limiting it to what we have in terrain. So these are grasslands. These are the woods, and that's a mountain, and that's the house, the home of Caliph, or the Caliph residence. So that's where we'll be working within. Let me see if I can fix this little table action here. Yeah, it's gonna be like that for some time. Let me fix that up, guys. Just kind of had to rewire it, but otherwise, we had a dark vision, and in the vision, it was something very uh, rotten looking. So I'm thinking it is something that we see. So let's roll to see what it is that we see. Now let's use our new tables here. I believe we can look to. Still getting used to the tables, so it might take me a second. This has all these items too, and I like that. Now, here we go. Dangers. I want to say we're gonna roll. So let's see what it is. Three. Oh, perfect. It's a skeleton. So we see a skeleton, and the skeleton is doing something. Let's roll 2d10 to see what the skeleton we see is doing. 15. It's communicating. So skeleton is speaking to us. The skeleton is speaking to Bregler. And where we left off was this voice is now um, the audible sound, the sound of a voice has taken form visually of a skeleton. And we're in this, our Bregler is in this complete darkness, of this void of darkness. And the voice sounds very rotten. It sounds grainy and just like a dead, just a really dead voice, very low tone. And he's speaking. He's telling us about something, but can we understand? Can we understand the voice? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is Breglor able to understand the voice? Let's say if it's a skeleton, it's a vision. Let's say very unlikely. 86. Very unlikely. No, that's exceptional. No, we are not. That's actually exceptional. No, so beyond our expectations. Does not understand. Does not understand. And because we cannot understand it, we rolled an exceptional no. It's hurting Bregler's ears, like it's screeching to him. So screeching, a screeching noise. So we see the skeleton glowing. The skeleton probably is just more of a like a skull. I'm gonna say it's more of a skull, like a head. It's a large skull that's talking to Breglor, and its eyes are glowing, and it's speaking to him. But when it's moving its mouth, it's just a loud screeching noise. So while it's speaking to Breglor, I believe it's going to do the following. 67. It's going to move. So the skull is going to move closer to Bregler's eyes. It moves closer. It moves closer to Bregler's eyes, and I'd say it's taking shape into a. Is it taking shape? 41. Let's see. The environment is starting to take shape. So I think while this vision of the skull is screeching sounds, bothering Breglor, it gets closer to his face and it fades away, and the environment starts to reappear again. So around Breglor, his environment starts to reappear. So the vision disappears. The vision ends, I should just say. The darkness subsides, and Breglor is back. He's perhaps kneeling on the ground, just holding his head like this, like he's covering up his face, and he's basically panicking. And the merchant, who I believe we already figured out that he's passed out. The father character, who we need a name, which I didn't do last time, so let's give the father a name finally. We keep calling him father, which is probably going to be confusing to people. Like, is Bregler's father? It's not. So we have NPCs. We have Dervish, who's with the Misfits. Misfits. I'm keeping track of characters here. NPCs. So we need a name generator. I think this one has a name. Yep, this one does have names, male names. So we're gonna do these six for. Let's do a male name. We already know the last name is Caliph. Two. Great. Okay, George Malfoy. So the father's name is Great. Okay, let's update our quest on that detail. The father is now Great. Okay, so Drake. I'm just gonna think I should probably recruit Drake at this point. Drake is seeing this happen before his eyes. Doesn't see this division. He sees Breglor freaking out, sweating, maybe not screaming, but like kind of struggling to speak. And what is his reaction to Breglor? We can roll for this, or we can just decide. I'm going to say, does this have reactions possibly? Let's see. There is motivations, methods, discovery, descriptions. We have descriptions. I'm really curious. I'm really curious if this has anything in that sort. Doesn't look like it does. That's okay. We still have the list from Mythic. I'm just curious if it does. Stubborn. Oh well, there is traits. Let's roll for traits. I'll roll one. I'll choose the best one. Heroic, sarcastic, heroic. Maybe okay. Heroic. So let's say Drake, um, is what Drake jumps it. Drake snaps Bregler out of the vision. Maybe there was some time difference in what Bregler was experiencing in his perception of time, and then in Drake's field of view, he just sees regular collapse or kneel down and start to scream or scream, or and he's starting to hold his head and he's yelling like, ah, just make it stop. He's trying to. While then Drake jumps in and just kind of starts shaking. Hey, snap out of it! And slaps him in the face like from Airplane. Snap out of it! And so he wakes Bregler up, and Bregler is trying to get his senses back, and the merchant's out. So let's label that. Well, let's see. Is the merchant truly out? Let's say is the merchant passed out for certain. Let's do a certainty. 32. He is. The merchant is clearly out of it. I think or we already figured that out. He's not dead per se, but he's very weak. He's on death's door. Let's just say that. So we're currently here, FYI. I almost forgot to mention that. We're at the crossroads. We're right in front of the farm. So we're at 28H. 28H. That's my new method of tracking these hexes. So letters are for vertical, numbers are for horizontal. And I flipped it, so now it's easier to write numbers first than the letter. So um, we just had that vision. Breglor is telling um, tells Drake that he just saw a talking skull, like literally just saw a talking skull. So Breglor tells Drake of the vision. Oh, you guys can't see my notes. I'm sorry. There we go. I think that's probably the view I usually work with right there. Okay, there we go. So you can really see the dice, you can see the notes, you can see this. The Oracle, it's not too important. We go to it every so often. So, and Drake is obviously surprised at this. He says, "A skull? What?" And like he Drake asks, "It was talking. What did it say?" Um, Regular's like, "I all I heard was screeching. I couldn't tell." Like maybe he's trying to remember. So let's do a will roll to see if he can remember. And he did pick up some stuff from he did pick up some details on AD20. Okay, we need to roll 13 or less. 16 he can't. So he can't remember anything at all. All he can't remember any finite details. All he remembers is the screeching, the loud unbearable screeching, but the skull is all he knows. He says skull, and the minute he says skull, um the merchant suddenly wakes up, and while he's awake, he does the following. 14. A character. So suddenly, merchant awakens, but it's not him. It's a different. So we roll character. It's a different character. He's an avatar right now, and the avatar lifts him up off the ground, kind of like a rag doll, and his face opens. He levitates. He levitates. Rag doll. He's possessed. So a spirit possesses him, and right now, as a side note, is that magical bird in sight of Breglor. I'm going to say nearly certain the storm probably cleared up by now. 90, 99. Wow, he's not. Exceptional no. Interesting. I did not expect that. So there is no bird. The bird is not still gone. We don't know what happened to it. Perhaps this possession is not from the magician. And that's what I was originally going for. Like, oh, the bird is just he's basically toying with Bregler now, trying to scare him into get back on the quest. But this is a whole different matter. I think this is being possessed by the same thing, the same skull, by that spirit. By well, let's just say skull spirit, or I'll just say skull. So he awakens and he's levitating. Breglor and Drake are absolutely blown. freaking out at the moment. I'd say, they live in a world of magic and spirits, so they're not entirely, surprised, but they're scared. So they're backing up. And what's the context? What does the skull, the talking, they don't know it's the skull itself. But what does the merchant corpse say? Seven. Right. I'd say its eyes are bright. So, um, eyes are bright. The dead merchant opens his eyes, and it's a similar brightness of the skull, similar to the skull, to the skull vision, the skull vision. So, okay, I'm beginning to tangle and weave a story here. I'm beginning to seek some connections with the quest. Um, Breglor recognizes the same glow of light that the skull had in his vision, and he basically takes Drake and pushes him back. He says, "Hold on, are you what I just what?" Like he basically is speaking to the corpse of the merchant. He says, "Are you the same skull I just saw?" And does the skull reply? I'm going to say he's there to talk, so very likely 41. Yep, he does. So regular asked regular questions. Corpse, the corpse. We'll call it the corpse. Or let's just say the skull. Maybe that's a nickname for it for now. So underlying skull. Questions the skull, asking, "Are you the same of what I just envisioned?" And the skull speaks its head's like this, and he says, "Yes." Like he basically answers in in short, short, brief words, brief sentences. Skull says yes, and Breglor asks, "Same from Vision." Okay, so now Bregler's asking the big question. He says, "What do you want from me?" And when he's asking what he wants from me, the skull. I have an idea for this part. We can roll a couple possibilities here. 73. Negative. Okay. Okay, this is negative. This is negative for Bregler, but kind of on the side. It's negative for him. I'll get to that. The skull says the box. Or he says, like he's breathing in between every word. The box you wield, mine. So the skull says that the box belongs to him. And Bregler takes the box out and he's looking at it and he's confused. He's like, the box belongs to him. And Bregler says to the skull, "How so?" And that's what the skull says. So Bregler questions it, and the skull basically says, "Life, bring me life." And that is how before the body collapses back on the ground. So questions it, skull replies, which we rolled from earlier in the last episode, life, bring me life. And then the merchant's body collapsed on the ground. Brangler's one in the box, and just a glow of light, or like a spiritual shadow, leaves the body of the merchant, and the merchant's still passed out. So clearly, the merchant was used as an avatar, because the original communication method the skull tried on Bregler wasn't working, because Bregler was conscious and alive. So the spiritual skull, this skull spirit, whoever it is, we'll get to that later in the adventure, communicated using the unconscious merchant because that was easier for the commune. So now we have the concept of the box now is somehow related to this weird skull. And why and how did the misfits get their hands on this thing? And why are we bringing it to um Why are we going to take it to the temple of? Oh yeah, I almost forgot about it. The Temple of Legions. We gotta leave that open. Temple of Legion. I got rid of the skull tower, the skull, all that stuff, skull related. I'm going to uncover that, but the Temple of Legion, we'll definitely have to keep that in mind. Let's put it up here. The Temple of Legion. We'll do this. We'll do kind of like a little top hat. It'll be a castle or a tower. Oh yeah, let's just do a tower. We'll do a tower, just a big something like this, and then kind of has a little top to it, like that, and some bricks. There we go. Yeah, we'll do that. That'll be the tower. And then, okay, so the tower is going to be on 15K. All right. Okay, so Breglor turns to Drake and he says, "You heard that, right?" Asks him. So Breglor, okay, we have to write down the skull. Um, Merchant collapses. So the skull leaves. Skull spirit leaves. Okay. Breglor asks Drake Malfoy if he just saw that too. So Drake, let's see. I say very certain. Maybe the skull's just speaking directly to Breglor, telepathically, spiritually, telepathically. But I'm gonna say very likely. Did Drake see that? Or I should say, did Drake hear? Did Drake see that? 57. He did. Okay. Did he hear that? Did he hear it? I'm gonna say unknown. 53. He didn't. Okay, so that's I wanted to split that up. There's two senses. So Drake saw the floating body, the floating merchant, but he didn't hear anything. Drake's like, I saw a floating body, but it was just floating there. Like I didn't hear it say anything. And then Greg was like, what is with this box? Like the skull just told me that this thing brings life to it. The skull, the one I saw in my vision. So he's basically trying to, like denial, not trying to be denying what he saw. He's he's like, oh, I must be freaking out. And then Drake's like, well, clearly something happens. You are, this is your thing. Like, this apparently this skull spirit of yours chose you for whatever is in that box. So what are you gonna do? And then Braglor is um he's at a crossroads here. There's a dead merchant. Oh, there's a passed out merchant in front of him. The key, there's still the key. So I want to forget about that. Oh yeah, that's right. We gave the key to um Drake. So Drake has the key. Can't forget about that. Before we had that vision, the first method of communion that the skull spirit tried to do upon us. And so Drake pulls the key out. Oh yeah, this key you gave me. Like, what do you want me to do with it? And then I think like there's a change of plans here. So basically, um, has the key, questions it. So he's asking what he wants to do with what does Drake what's it to do with the key? Questions it. So Regler's still trying to get his senses back. He's like, well, I wasn't expecting to be, possessed by a spirit. So I'm gonna, I guess I'll take the key. So because he Regler wanted the to leave, like he wanted to leave, take the box, complete his quest. He wanted to give the situation of this passed out merchant the key to basically put it on the shoulders of Drake. It's like, hey, get some help. This is your thing. I gotta go. But now because of the vision, he's like, okay, I'm the chosen one apparently. So now Bregler asks for the key back. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna take this because the key means something. So Breglor takes the key back, and then he's telling Drake, "Look, I have to go. Are you okay here finding help for this guy?" And then Drake is, uh, I say we probably don't mean it. Drake's like, yeah. I know someone. I'll go get someone. So he'll go get some help. The family, they'll do what they did for Braglor. They'll help. They'll see that they're not too far off from the village of Terran. So Drake, so he basically shakes Drake's hand. He's like, well, this has been strange, but I'm on my way. So, uh, they part ways. So Braglor leaves. Uh, Drake basically says thank you for earlier saving my son, and help healing me back on my feet. So thanks him for everything. And then here's one thing I want to do. It clicks with it. So Bregler remembers one thing detail. He's like, "Are you guys like?" He asks, "Have you guys ever been to uh Terran?" And Bregler, does Bregler react to this? Like, let's roll. Bregler asks Drake, one more thing. Have you ever been to the village of Terran up the street? Up the path? 29. The seat. Okay. This is interesting. The seat. Huh. Drake is like, not for some time. So in saying that, so Bregler asks Drake if he's been to Terran anytime recently. I think he's trying to close up that I think he's trying to Bregler's trying to mention that incident in the forest with the misfits if he recognized them, but he's being deceitful. So uh, Drake said, or we already wrote that down. Drake says no, basically. But is he being like 86? But it's positive. So he's being deceitful for a good reason. I think Bregler recognizes that and he doesn't want to open up an old wound. So let's say when you're shaking hands, he asks him, Have you ever, by the way, have you been to Terran up the path?" And Drake stops shaking hands. And he's like, "No, I can't say I have." So he does that, and then I think Bregler can read it that we can roll for a will check. Let's roll for a will check. We audience knows he's being deceitful, but does Bregler see that? 19, he doesn't. So it worked. So for some reason, Drake is just saying no. He's never been there. He's lying for some reason why he went to the village in the first place. So we may not never know that because of our just we just failed the roll. But let's say he just says no. I think this was a little weird, awkward moment for Braglor, but he was trying to perhaps just close an old wound that because this is the father, this is the guy, the family that his misfits were almost ambushed by. So I think we are done with this quest. We saved the kid and we're going our separate ways, or maybe it's not closed. So, um, Dark Vision, and then, yeah. So, scene five was, let's see, we talked to the skull. Drake, gave back key, and then, Breglor left. Parted ways. I think that's good for now. I feel like maybe this section wasn't really necessary because that was in the past. It just there doesn't seem like there's any closure to that. So Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cross that out. We're gonna edit that out. I'm not too I don't not too happy with that. I know I'm cheating, but again, this is my solo adventure. So also I'm gonna spell that. I'm gonna correct that spelling there. Right. Shakes him for everything. Or thanks him for everything. I almost put shanks him. Thanks. Yeah, and he thanks him too. He's okay, so we leave. Breglar leaves. And then um we leave. Drake tends to the merchant, picks him up, takes him back to the cabin. So we leave. Okay, now while we're walking, oh, the horse. That's right. We almost forgot about the horse. So Bregler stops for a second, and realizes, oh yeah. He turns around and looks to Drake. He says, uh, "The horse. Like, can I? Do you have a horse I can borrow? I almost forgot about that before I get possessed." Like he's saying sarcastically. And what is, well, like, okay, so here, almost forgot. Almost forgot the horse that we almost uh forgot to get, forgot to borrow. Um, Breglor asks Drake. Drake's holding the merchant back to the cabin or farmhouse, back to the house. There we go. Now, what's his reaction to that? Six. Betray him. Interesting. Oh, okay, maybe not a bad betrayal. Okay. He says that shoot. Not necessarily betray, but I think it's more like he's holding the body. He says, "Well, I almost was going to give it to you, but now I gotta use my horse carriage to take this merchant to the nearest doctor." And then Bregler is like, "Okay, no, that's all right, thanks." So and then he continues off. So uh, Drake can't give horse. It's a betrayal, but not like a. It's just like he changes his mind. He because of circumstances that is betrayed him. Drake can't give horse. Needs it for merchant. Needs it to go to the doctor for merchants. To put the merchant on, like he doesn't want to carry him all the way to the doctor. Needs it for merchant. Needs it for merchants. Okay, so that is closed. All right, so we're off. Bregler's off to the next hex, and he knows he has to go northwest. So we're going back. We're going to go. I think Bregler is going to avoid the cave. Let's not forget that. So the cave is going to be 25G. 25. Let's see. G is that cave of the Griffins, which we haven't really heard much from recently. 25D is the Griffin Cave. Okay, so the Griffins, where are they? Like the rain, it's not raining anymore. I'm assuming the rain's done with. Is the rain? It has it finished raining some time ago. So is it still raining? I'm gonna say nearly impossible. 81. Yes, it's not raining anymore. So we'll put a star on that one. And we entered a new hex. So we got to figure this. We got to build this hex here. This new one's gonna be 27G. Okay, 27G equals. All right, let's figure this out. What will this hex be consisting of? All right, first of all, what's the terrain? I keep trying to use the actual tray here. Oh, three. All right, so it was three anyways. Hills. Oh, I'm sorry, new terrain. Same. It's the same. So it's fields. We're walking in more fields. Let's do that. Um, let's see. Fields, the same. Weather, we already rolled for that. Explore die. We're going to be walking. So Bregler is walking. He has all of his belongings. He's healed up. We're going to roll to see what happens. One. Nothing happens. Okay. Now, as we're walking through this hex, nothing happens. Then we have discoveries. We have danger, evidence elements. Okay. Nothing happens. So now we're going to move to another hex. So this is I'm trying to move this adventure along. Is not spend too much time on one hex. Just keep moving until we roll for one of those moments here. So now we're moving to the next hex. Yeah, there's no dangers here. Nothing. NA, just not applicable. We're moving to the next hex. We'll be here. 26. 26 F. We Let's roll to see what the terrain is. Two, the same. So fields. Okay. Now the situation. What we're exploring. We're walking through. Two, nothing happens. So yeah, that's pretty uneventful. We'll probably get there in time, and he's just rushing it. He has pretty good luck right now. Let's do one more hex before something happens. So F, 24F. So nothing happened here. We're moving up north. We're getting close to Bellhop. F, 24F. Okay. Now what is the terrain on this one? Four. Oh, that's this. Okay, same terrain. Okay. Now let's roll for exploration. Whoops. Do it again. One. Nothing. Nothing happens. It's just well, actually, I'm going to change that. So let's figure out what happens here. We put some little conflict into our story. We can't just be walking around with nothing happening. Six. Break. Let's do. Okay, I have an idea. Something breaks. Oh, something breaks. I like that. While we're walking on 24F in the fields, we step on something. Okay. I'm not doing that side again. We're currently in 24F. Well, we had some pretty quiet travel, which is unusual. We break something. So we step on some. Breglor steps on something. So if he's walking through the fields, he must have not seen it. Now what did he step on? That's the question. Let's roll to see what we can step on. Let's see. Hazard, dangers. We have dangers and we have hmm, thinking about what we've stepped on. Hmm. I want to say we stepped on something, an object, perhaps. Yeah, let's see we stepped on something. D6 4 description. Okay, let's do that. What did we step on? Six. Oh, we stepped on something big. Okay, on something big. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Okay, I think I'm going to give it what we just stepped on. Was it a tail of sorts? All right. Was it a tail? I'm going to say nearly certain it was a tail. 37. Yeah, we just stepped on a very big tail. And in doing so, it was hidden. Regular, like a goof, steps on a tail and it wakes up this large creature. Now, what is this creature? So it wakes up. We have a few choices here. The grasslands. Um, monster. So what we're gonna do, monster. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to get used to the map here. Elevation, traits. Is it the monster? Okay, let's get some details on the monster itself. We stepped on something big. A tail. It's a creature. So it's a creature. Maybe the creature was sleeping? 52. Gain. Oh, we gain something from this. We encounter. I'd say this is something we've dealt with in the past. Now, is it? I'm just going straight up. Is this the Griffins? Nearly certain one of the two. Very likely. 56. It is. Oh shoot. We just stepped on one of the Griffins. Ironically, they probably camped out here. So okay, we stepped on one of the. But interesting actually. Why would we just laying down like that? Okay, stepped on the Griffin's tail. Stepped on the high grass, the different levels of the fields like he's walking through. He's just kind of pushing through, taking a shortcut up north. And assuming he maybe sees a trail, but he feels like he stepped on something like thick, like he can kind of push on it. It's not the ground. Stepped on Griffin's tail. Is the Griffin alive? 50-50 on this. 55. It's not. The Griffin's dead. And because it's that close to guess, it was just killed. So the Griffin's dead. For now, it's just one Griffin. The Griffin's dead. Fresh kill. Fresh corpse, I guess. We'll just say. And it's like it shocks Regular. Like he moves the field the crop off to the side, tries to get a look again. It's dead. Now the condition of it. Oh, whoops. Roll reroll for that. 9. Clean. So it was killed. It's dead, but it's a clean death. Huh. Okay. Okay. Let me roll one more. That's really intriguing, actually. 37. No, that doesn't make sense. Heavy emotions, healthy. Emotions are kicking. So Bregler's like emotions are driving through his head. Like after everything that happened with them earlier, he's just recalling the past. He's like, oh, this is ironic. They're dead. The one of them, wait, he's like, he realized one of them is dead. Like they were just healthy, not too long ago. But maybe they ate something poisonous. So Bregler's thinking like, there's no, is there any markings of foul play on this Griffin? Let's say 50-50, 64. There's not. So we're really the whole situation. The Oracle here is really leaning to this was a death of natural causes or some kind of poison. So no marks. Like there was no injury, no visible marks of foul play. I know I keep saying that's probably not even relevant, but I think we're gonna do a knowledge check, will check to see if Regular can probably just maybe maybe with his experience figure out what happened with this Griffin. 11. That's below 13. So he is able to realize that what exactly happened to this Griffin was 32 fragrance. Oh, interesting. Fragrance. Fragrance. Regular smells something really quite strange. Not just the corpse, but like he smells a poison of sorts, something unnatural. I keep saying poison. That's probably the case at this point. So Regular smells a um something very disgusting, a very strong a strong scent. Now, what is the scent? Let's see. 81. It's rotten. Yeah, it's a rotten smell. So maybe it is the corpse. Smells a strange, rotten scent around. Okay, is it coming from the? Let's say very unlikely. Is the smell coming from the griffin if it was just freshly killed? 60, 69, 69. Well, interesting. So old on the scripture, but very unlikely. It's not coming from the griffin. Okay, the smell is not coming from the griffin, but it smells old. Smells old to Breglor. And because of that, he's looking around. He's doing this like he's smelling something. And I think he finds something. Now, is there anything nearby? Let's say I forgot that. Is there anything else nearby? Like let's say nearly certain. 42. Nearly certain. Yep, there is something nearby. So he's smelling the Bregler sees something in the distance. He sees something not too far. Let's say that's pretty close. It's something nearby. So he's going to kind of walk and follow the smell as it gets stronger. He walks towards it, towards the smell, towards the smell. And does he find something nearby? Or let's see. I have an idea. Hear me out on this. So I'm going to put the Mythic Oracle aside, and I'm going to use what I mentioned in my other video some time ago, just using a percentage system. And I want to challenge myself here big time. This will be a huge challenge. I'm not going to use any, I'm trying not to use any of the oracles, but everything from here. Again, this is a 180, I know, but I really want to try this out. So, Breglor does Breglor. He's walking through the fields. He's smelling something that gets stronger and stronger. The scent gets stronger, and it's horrific. But he's really curious what it is. Does he find a does he find a water source? I'm gonna say 70% chance. So I have to roll between 1 to 70% chance that he finds a water source. Yep, 10. He does. He finds a river, like a canal. I'll just say canal. He finds a small river, let's just say. We'll stick with that. A small river, and the river, he's smelling, is the smell coming from the river? Let's say 80% chance on that one. 98. It's not. It's something near the river. Okay, that was intriguing. Small river, but the smell is not from the river. The smell is not the river itself. So, is there something that's rotting like a carcass of an animal nearby? Like it's something rotting nearby. Is it the smell coming from a carcass? Is the smell coming from something dead? I'm gonna say 90% chance on that. It is. Oh yeah, that's a very strong yes. That indeed. He sees a dead carcass of an animal, and it's a wolf. So he sees a dead wolf, and the wolf doesn't have any injuries on it. Like is it torn apart? I'm gonna say 80% chance on this one. Oh yeah, another strong roll. It is, yeah, it's torn apart. It's torn apart, like teeth marks, and does let's do a roll here. Can Reglar see any similarities between the claw marks, the teeth marks of a griffin, perhaps? We're rolling. Does he see anything on the? He's two. So yes, very strong. He notices that the marks of the wolf are that of the griffins from earlier. But why is the griffin dead? If it had a, if it had a little snack of this wolf. So torn apart by a griffin, by we'll say a griffin, because there's still one out there that we're not accounting for, by a griffin. So while he's looking at this dead wolf, he's really confused, and he's basically realizing that there's a connection here between the dead wolf and that dead griffin, which is really intriguing to him. But at the same time, he has to keep going. So while he's realizing that, does anything happen? Let's say 40%. Yeah, it's 14. Something does happen. Now, is this a does something happen out of our control? Like, let's say another griffin shows up. 15%. Let's do 25% chance. Does the other griffin show up? Shoot. The other griffin shows up. Now, shows up how? So, the other griffin appears, but is it alive? Because we have to keep it consistent. Let's do 30% on that one. Is it alive? 30%. It is very much alive. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, no, 70. That's not the roll within 30%. It's dead. So it's very much dead. This one's actually deader than the last one. So Breglar sees the other griffin dead further down the river. And this is the bigger brother. So Breglar sees the other griffin dead. Now, um, he walks up to it, and let's see. Breglar sees the other griffin dead. It's this griffin is the bigger one of the two that we encountered much earlier in the adventure. Equals bigger one. Now is this griffin torn apart, or does this griffin show any physical harm? Let's say because the other griffin was um like a clean death somehow, we still haven't uncovered that mystery. I'm gonna say 20% on this one. We got to roll within 20 if it shows physical harm. Shoot, this one does show physical harm, and quite a bit actually, for some reason. Griffin equals bigger. This one shows um, heavy injuries. Was it with a weapon? I'm gonna say 50-50 on this one. So 50% chance it was a weapon. Well, 75% chance it was a weapon. It was, yeah. So um, Griffin sees no role for this one. He clearly sees some sword air. Oh, was it a ranged weapon? 80% chance. Oh yeah, that's strong 7. He sees a bunch of arrows in the back of its head. So uh like maybe 4 or 5 arrows, like a bunch of arrows shot into the back of its head, in the back of its head. Which then Griffin realizes that, oh shoot. So can Griffin tell how long this body's been here? Let's do a will check on this one. 10. He can. The body of this Griffin is it similar to the other brother? Let's say 80% chance it's been here for the same time. It's fresh. 99. Holy crap. No, this one was killed first. So this Griffin was killed first. Now, because it was killed first, and he regularly realizes the arrow was in the back of its head, he couldn't really see it at first from a distance. He then realized he goes back to the other Griffin. So he paces back, just kind of curiously back to the original Griffin, and again he's seeing is on its side, but then he's going to look over its head, and does he see arrows? I'm going to say 90% chance here. Does he see arrows on the Griffin's head? 78, he does. He sees a couple of arrows. So he looks. Let's see. Let's just roll the other Griffin. the original, the other Griffin, or OG Griffin, also had, like, he's moving its head up and also has arrows in its head, in its back of the head, covered up by the crops, and it was on the side, so Griffin didn't originally see it. That explains why it was a clean death, because it was arrows. It wasn't like sword or anything. So Bregler isn't realizing that there's someone passed through here and took out these griffins, and that wolf is just a might have been just part of the pack and just might have been, side casualty. But I think the wolf's death was food for the griffins. So the griffins were feeding let's see, were feeding on the wolf until they until they were basically shot. Yeah, we'll just say that until killed, until killed. We'll just say that killed. Okay, so 56 minutes. So basically, Bregler's standing there just kind of dumbfounded, like, wow, this is ironic, because what, like, he's just thinking to himself, he just dealt with these two earlier. He threw a torch, wasn't able to kill them, ran off, he escaped them, but he's like, this is really ironic. Now, while he's thinking, does anything happen to Breglor? Or does anything happen around this? I didn't give a percentage, sorry. Let's do 75%. Does anything happen? 76%. Okay. Bregler hears something, and in hearing something, he looks around and he hears, okay, so he hears something. It's faint, but he can hear a bow and an arrow preparing to fire. Like, he hears the little twine, the noise, and then Bregler sees right behind him that, does he see who's, like, because there's a couple possibilities here. Um, trying to erase this all over. There we go. He sees first. He hears something. It's a bow. It's a bow and an arrow. It's a bow and an arrow, being pulled, being readied, and because of that, he sees somebody, kind of in the distance with the bow and arrow aiming. Is it aimed right at Bregor? I'm going to say 80% on this with the idea I have. It is very much aimed at, yeah. So he sees somebody, sees somebody with a bow aimed at him, aimed at himself. Okay, so this person we're seeing now, uh, we can choose what we see. I'm going to say it's a commoner. I'm going to say it's someone who owns this land, and this person with the bow is saying, "What are you doing on my land? Do you want to end up like that griffin over there?" So he basically, Breglor is trespassing on someone's land right now, and he has a bow aimed right at him, but he hasn't fired yet. So I'm going to say he asks him what he's doing on his land. So this person, this commoner, this landowner, okay, this landowner equals. Let's get a name for this guy. It's a male, or is it a male? Let's see. 50-50. 50% it's a male. Okay, no, it's a woman. Okay, it's a woman. So it's a female, and then D6 for the rest. We need a name for this character. Female names. Let's do 6. Xena. I was Xena. What were your princess? You always had the, fantasy weapons. Okay, Xena. All right. Xena is her name. Sure, why not? Xena, warrior princess. So, is she an older lady? Um, is she an older lady? Like 65% on that one? Yeah, 37. Yeah, she's older. Okay. So, older lady. That's all we can tell. She's dressed up just in kind of commoner clothes, wearing common clothes. Okay, let's add this character to our list here. So, um, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot Drake. Drake. We have Drake here. He's the father. Well, actually, I'm gonna keep him out because I think, Dervish is, he's done with. He's on the quest sheet. But now we have this lady, Xena, with the bow. Okay. And Reglar's hands are up like this, just staring at her while she has a bow, saying, "What are you doing on my land? Do you want to end up like that griffin over there?" And it cuts to black. So that is the end of that episode, episode 9. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I did make some changes. That's evident. I feel like it's gonna happen probably every 9 or 10 episodes. Just a little challenge for myself. Working to improve, working to stick and try something new. So I'm going to be using the percentage system now. I do like this percentage system actually because it challenges me to create things just off the bat for myself, but not relying on too many of the oracles that we have here. But this oracle system is fine. It has a lot of stuff to use, especially items. That's the stuff I want to try to use as the items and names. I like using that too. But like as far as anything outside of that, it can work out for us, especially the hexes. So yeah, we left off. Let's see, where are we right now? We are 24F. Yep, we're right there. We left off in 24F. We're still in the fields. It's obviously someone's home or someone's land. And then the title for episode 9, like always, The Talking Skull. So we'll call that The Talking Skull. Okay, that's the episode. That's the name for episode 9. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time on 830 RPG.